All right. Welcome everyone to the Empowered by Guidely Summit. I'm Alicia Love, and I am going to be speaking today about spiritual solutions to help you get out of overwhelm, that feeling of stress and overwhelm, and back to feeling joyful and happiness and love and embodiment. So we're gonna just look in the chat there to see who's here. Please share where you're from. And we're going to wait for a few more minutes as people join before I really get started. But I want to welcome you all who are here. Thanks for coming. I'm really excited. I'm personally feeling a lot of joy, a lot of excitement. Actually had to use some of my own techniques in the last couple of hours to ground myself and get my energy into alignment so that I could be here with you and sharing these tips. Welcome. Looks like we've got people from all around the world. Desiree from the Philippines, thank you for sharing. Please add in the chat where you're from, and we'd love to engage with you. I will do some question and answer at the very end, and there's a separate question and answer section at the bottom of your screen that you can add questions into. Welcome, Kristen from California. Thanks for joining. Ooh, New Zealand, that's exciting. Welcome, thanks for joining us. We're gonna get started here in about 3 minutes. We're just gonna see if anybody else is coming. Melissa from Texas, welcome. This is wonderful. I've got Gina from Guidely helping me out, answering the chat. Veronica from Virginia, love that. VV, welcome. British Columbia, Canada. That's pretty close to me. I'm in Portland, Oregon. I mean, pretty close. We're on the same coast. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Get cozy, grab some water, some tea. We'll get going here in just a couple minutes. Maybe 2 more minutes. I'm so excited. I'm so happy everybody's here. We had some rain here in the last couple of days. Well, just last night really, but it's been hot. I don't know what the weather's like everywhere, but sun is shining. Got some clouds. All right. Give it 1 more minute, but I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank you for showing up here at the summit to grow and learn and expand what you know, how you can be more empowered. This is really exciting. So I'm hoping to empower you today with some spiritual connection, some alignment, some guidance around how to notice when you're feeling overwhelmed, some of the biological reasons, and how we can bring in some spiritual solutions to switch from that overwhelmed state back into a joyful, happy, loving state of mind, body, and spirit. So I'll get started. My name is Alicia Love. I have had a lifetime so far of being loved and connected to spirit, and had wonderful parent support in that sort of spiritual upbringing of mine. I went to Bastyr University out in Seattle to study herbal medicine because I thought that was the way I was going to be helpful, most helpful to share in that physical medicine and how it affects our bodies. But when I was there in my senior year of college, I had a spiritual awakening that made me realize that I really needed to follow a more spiritual path in my healing of myself and for others. So I consider myself a soul coach, a spiritual guide, a meditation guide, because some of the techniques I learned throughout my journey have been to help me stay connected to spirit and live out of this passionate, joyful, loving state that it just feels so good to live out of. So, um, we'll talk about overwhelm. I know that everybody is here because they must feel some level of stress in their lives personally, or just feeling the stress and overwhelm of the world and what's going on. So I want to thank you for recognizing that you need support in that area, and really excited to connect with you about the spiritual ways in which you can support yourself. And I'm going to use the word spirit to represent the universal oneness, God, the ultimate, the God goddess. I believe that it is an energy that connects us all and is not separate. So it's within us, and we have the ability to tap into it within us and recognize that it's without us and harmonize and connect with that energy at any point. No matter what's going on, you can tap in and connect to the spiritual forces of the universe, to God, at any moment. And I'm going to give you some pointers and tips on how to do that. If you have any questions throughout, feel free to put them in the Q&A at the bottom. There should be a tab where you can enter in a question, and I'll get to them towards the end. And I've got someone on the Guidely team, Gina, helping answer anything in the chat. So if you have technical issues or anything you want to share, you're welcome to add it into the chat. So thank you so much for being here, and let's get started. So the concept of overwhelm is really an alarm that your nervous system is letting you know that there's too much going on. There's too much mental activity, your own thought processes, there's too much physical stimulus. It's really that alarm in our bodies that tells us there's too much going on. So that's an opportunity. When you hear that alarm, when you feel that, you notice it, you can choose how to respond instead of reacting in the old ways that you were programmed to by your family, by your upbringing, by society. You have a choice, and you can always choose to tap into spirit and find something to be joyful about. And a big part of that is gratitude. So my number one tip is to be grateful, to find something to be grateful for. For me, I try to have it be an open, spiritually connected sort of gratitude. Like, I'm grateful that love exists, right? I'm grateful, even if you're not feeling very loved in the moment, right? You're overwhelmed with sadness or pain. You can be grateful that love exists, because that means you have the ability to get there. And it might take some steps and process along the way, but you can. And that's the other thing, is recognizing your belief system, whether you can or can't do something, connect to God, connect to yourself, to ground, to breathe. And so gratitude is my number one practice personally. Being grateful that Mother Earth provides, that we have food in abundance, that there is sunshine, and when there's not sunshine, when there's rain, being grateful for our friends, our family, being grateful for what you do have. And part of that is looking for the beauty in the world. So being grateful that the flowers are blooming. And in the winter time, for those of you down in the Southern Hemisphere, being grateful that you get a time of rest, being grateful for the snow-capped mountains, or anything that you can just find one little thing to see beauty and be grateful for will help you shift out of overwhelm and back to joy. And physically, one of our best tools, and I call it my spiritual toolbox, one of the best tools in my spiritual toolbox is breath. breath and meditation, great if you have time to meditate. And if not, we're always breathing. You always have access to your breath. So, pausing when you feel stressed, just taking 60 seconds to breathe into your belly, feel the rise and fall of your chest. Just becoming present with your breath is, for me, step 2. Step 1 was to notice, recognize the alarms going off that you're overwhelmed. Step 2 is to breathe, become present. When you breathe, you actually have a response to your nervous system through your vagus nerve, via the vagus nerve. And that connects all the way down your spine. It's one of the biggest, longest nerve bundles of our entire nervous system. And the breathing, the physical action of expanding your chest and noticing and calming and breathing deeper actually massages the vagus nerve, and it affects your ability to hear, speak, and feel in your nervous system. So all of those things are connected to presence, being able to notice what's really going on right there in your close-in sphere, in your bubble, to hear maybe more truth of what's happening instead of through the filter of assumptions and beliefs. And through my soul coaching practice, I help people recognize the limiting beliefs that are stopping you from feeling your joy, and how to tap back into the heart center. So when I breathe, a lot of times I like to put my hands on my chest and my belly, come into that present breath awareness, and let that vagus nerve get massaged. And in 60 seconds, you can really tap into your body. And how is that a spiritual practice? Because then you can take the moment to be aware and connect to the choice of what you actually want to do, what you want to connect with. Instead of being overwhelmed by the stimulus that is constantly coming at us, you can choose to look for beauty. You can choose a belief system that will route you to a mental awareness or capacity to experience more joy. And I want to talk about what joy is. Joy is joy is simple. Joy is the act of enjoying what you're doing in the present moment. And I think since you're here and you believe in spirit, that you might agree with me that part of being joyful and enjoying the moment is knowing that spirit flows through all things, and that we can actually tap into that energy and that flow and that guidance from spirit. And it takes becoming present and choosing to enjoy that moment with spirit, enjoy that moment with yourself. And for me, once I tap in through the breath, I expand in my heart and I feel spirit here. So let's all just do that for a moment. Take a few breaths, really deep breaths, feeling the inhale, bringing in the calm, and the exhale being a release, letting go of anything worrying you, making you feel stressful, anything that might be overwhelming you. Just let it go for a moment. Offer it to spirit. Let God hold that thing you're worried about right now, the thing that's stressing you out. Offer it as a blessing. Like, please, can you take this from me and let me just be present with my breath? And as you do that, recognize and feel the joy and love in your heart. And it might just be one little thing that you can think of that makes you feel like you're going to enjoy this moment. You're going to enjoy your heartbeat. the warmth of your body. Sometimes I close my eyes to really tap in and connect. But that heart space can really expand and feel like we're tapping into spirit, tapping into love. Because we are energy and spirit is energy, and we're influenced by things that are energy, all the energy around us. I mean, the frequencies, the vibrations, it could be electronics or it could be nature. We are affected. And if you tap into that vibration of your own heart and of the earth and of love, that is tapping into spirit. That is your gateway. That is the ability that you have. If you believe it to be true, if you believe that you can and you practice it, then I think that you can take yourself out of overwhelm in any moment when you recognize it. You choose to look for joy. You choose to tap into your own heart and to spirit and to love. And you become present with that, with your breath in the moment. I want to talk about that grounding element of being present as well. Because we are energetic beings and everything has an electrical current, we also are energy and have an electrical current in our body. And we need to ground our energy. So some of that you can do easy by stepping outside and putting your feet on the grass and actually exchanging electrons with Mother Earth and grounding your energy with nature. And if you don't have access to nature, say you're in an office building, which we're not doing so much of that right now. Say you're at home and it's cold outside and you don't want to go outside, or it's raining and it's just too much to go put your feet in the earth. You have the ability to, through your belief system and your nervous system and your imagination, ground your energy through your feet, through your root chakra, and through that energy of light, that pillar of light, that spiritual core that we all have. And the way that I recommend and teach in my meditation guidance that I give is to imagine that pillar of light tapping in above your head and holding that column of light in your being and sending it down to ground through the earth. So we have that pillar of light, and that's actually where our presence comes from, that centered awareness that you are here in this moment, aligned and in balance, can really help with feeling overwhelmed and finding what makes you joyful. What do you enjoy? And how can you tap into that? So that's a lot of my tips right there. I went through them kind of quickly, but we also got a little chance to practice them. But the other humongous, absolutely important aspect about tapping into spirit for the ability to get out of overwhelm and into joy is to trust. And there's a part of that that is allowing for spirit to be there for you. So being open and surrendering to that support and allowing it. So there's an element of surrender and letting go that is really a choice, again, back to choice in your belief system, from being in a stressed out, overwhelmed state to shifting into a more centered, calm, joyful place. And the trust that you have with spirit is a development that you need to practice and create a relationship there. Part of it is that energetic system, and the more you use it, the better tuned in and aligned it will be. And the more connection that you reach to spirit and allow and receive that light and energy into your body, then the easier it will be. Spirit is energy. And when we tap into that light core, we can feel it. And I hope you can feel it. just sitting calmly and feeling the openness and trusting that the divine can bring you light and love and energy is a huge part of the practice. So, trusting, aligning, breathing, choosing to not focus on the negativity or the multiple overwhelming, like too muchness, the too much that I was talking about at the beginning, the stimulus. Some of that is choosing to not watch the news or get on social media and unplugging from the too much input. But let's say right now, and I'd love to hear, maybe you can put it in the question and answer, and I'll address these individually at the end. Maybe there's something that you're dealing with right now that you'd like to ask for guidance on, to how to find a way out of that overwhelmed state. But for example, right now, I'll use um, feeling stressed out by work or not having work. Both of those could be, trying to get deadlines in, try to make more money, the efforting, the overwhelm with do, or the stress of I don't have anything to do. And this is, like it's almost like a spinning feeling, that overwhelmed stress, right? And it's usually a pattern and a loop that's happening in our nervous system that needs a pattern interrupt to break the cycle. And that's what I'm saying. The first step is that you have to notice that you're in a pattern, and then you get to choose to remove yourself from that pattern by tapping in with your breath, trusting spirit, allowing for that connection to happen. And it just takes a moment. It just takes being present and creating that opportunity. And then being grateful and finding something to become joyful about, something to appreciate. Maybe it's a kind word that a coworker said, somebody appreciated you, and you can really take that in, allow your heart to focus on that instead of focusing on all of the other worry and stress. And because it looks like people are adding in the chat, I would love to see, I'm gonna pop over here and look. Working on seeing what is real and not in the 3D, breaking out of ego and doubt. Is there an easy way to dispel doubt? That is a great, I'm so glad that you added that in there. Thank you, Robbie. Dispelling doubt. So I think it goes back to trust. And I've had a lot of clients lately bring that up. Trusting that spirit's got your back, trusting that you can feel that support from the energetics around you, from the other realm, from God, from spirit. And partly how I help people through that process of doubt and not feeling supported or not feeling worthy to receive the support is to find something you do trust in and exercise your trust muscle. And if it's because you've had an experience in the past that made you not trust spirit, then that would be some trauma work that you'd want to work through, shifting a belief system. And a lot of times you can just filter down your mental thought about that into a statement and look at the statement, write it down. And again, everything is a choice, how to shift it. You can choose if that's the way you really want to think about things or if you'd like to shift it. And sometimes it's just tweaking one word. So it sounds like doubting what's real from the perspective of ego. And you can correct me if I'm wrong here, just going off of what you said. Doubting what's real and what's, thank you, because he said yes. Doubting what's real and what's not real. And we all kind of go through that, I think, in the spiritual world of energy work and energy medicine. Like, how much of what I'm feeling is real and how much of it is made up, right? And I think you say crazy thoughts. Like some of the crazy thoughts are the hamster wheel that your brain can't get out of, and that's the pattern interrupt and making the choice to get out of it. So I'd say those thoughts are, and when you notice you're having them, that's the alarm I was talking about at the beginning. That's noticing that that's where you are and you want to shift out of it. And it's really making a conscious choice. And then it's willpower and asking for support from spirit to be confident, to be strong in that choice, and that follow through is really what we're talking about today, right? So, how do you do that? I do it by aligning within. And I started this whole process for me, started with trusting my own heart, trusting the goodness and the intentionality of my desire to help, that place of peace and love from within me, and wanting to share that experience externally, right? So I want to not only feel it towards myself, but also be that in the world. And for me, trusting spirit came through trusting that my heart is connected to spirit, and I can trust that discernment of my own heart. And so I worked on expanding and feeling the visceral feelings of love and warmth and expansiveness in that heart center. And again, like I keep taking deep breaths because that's where I tap in and feel the groundedness in my body and into up to spirit, to the love and light outside and within, is continuing to breathe it. So we've got another comment from Kristen saying, working on resetting my mind and spirit and going through physical symptoms of MS and diagnosis of that. I'm sorry to hear that. That's definitely a journey, a healing journey of yours. Trauma, struggling. Yeah, it's that feeling of struggle, right? The challenge that, and I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. The struggle, the part that is the struggle, is our resistance to the flow, the resistance against letting spirit help us. And I have found in my practice for my own life that when people are ready to really bring spirit in as a collaborator in their lives, that the struggle gets easier. You can offer that struggle up to spirit and ask for that help and support and assistance in return. And that's a working relationship, right? It's like an energetic backpack. Like you're trudging along, you're carrying this weight. When you're personally ready to take that off and ask for help from spirit, you'll start to feel lighter. And the way out of struggle is, once you start to feel lighter, there's more clarity, there's more openness to connecting to the not the correct path. I'm glad I caught myself. The easier path, the easier way, the way of flow. And I believe personally that that connection to spirit is what helps us with the ease and flow of our lives, that you will have more divine alignment, divine assistance, those things that are, we call synchronicities, that can be you're like, wow, I had no idea that it could be so good, that life could bring me such blessings and such gifts. I believe that when you tap into that flow, you receive more and more of those because you're in line with them energetically. So here's the belief that Kristen said, believing all of this, but I get so wound up and caught in the loops of negativity and end up pushing people away. Grateful to have these programs and tools. I'm so glad. I hope that some of this was helpful. And I'm going to try to address those negative thoughts, because the overwhelm can come from the negative thoughts. And I think I did talk about at the beginning that it's the belief system that when things are too much or negative and you want to look at the negative. It's all about catching that thought and choosing a different thought. Our nervous system, our brains are hardwired, but easy to change the wiring. And I always like make these like the brain nerves, and how your fingers can, with believing a new thought, with seeing gratitude as a daily practice, with meditation, which I barely touched on, so we'll get to that too, you can change your nervous system. You can actually reroute the impulses through your brain. So where you were thinking negative thoughts, you can shift and consciously. It takes effort. It takes a little bit of time to reprogram and recreate. I explain it like it's taking a journey through the jungle, right? This old belief system is like a highway, and your nervous system is like easy. That's my always the route I take. I always think in that frame set of mind. But you're talking about making a choice to shift. And so if you want to shift and you've got to go through this jungle, first it's going to be a little rough, and it's going to take a little slower, more gentle, more patience to create a trail through there. You can have some tools to chip away and create a new flow. And once you travel that trail many, many times, you can get it wide enough to pave it and then create a new road there. And your brain will stop using the old highway and it will shift over to using the new belief system. And a lot of that is believing in the support from spirit, that we can have that energetic support in that process. And again, that for me goes back to the heart and trusting that you have this intuition within you that is that guidance from spirit to follow. And I feel like there was something else I was going to say about that belief system. But truly, happiness is a choice. If you see that you are unhappy with your life and you don't like what's going on, and yeah, a lot of us are unhappy with the way the world is responding, the way different people are in what's going on in the world. We've got a lot of different things happening that can cause us stress and overwhelm if we choose to focus on the negative aspects of that. And this actually came up in conversation yesterday, and I wanted to bring it into this talk today. The overwhelm that we feel with what's going on, it has a lot to do with wanting control and making something tangible enough for us to understand it. When there's so much going on in the world that we don't really know what the answers are, we don't really know who's behind what and what's true and what's not. Where you do have control in your life is right here and right here. This alignment and your ability to stay in your own center and to live from your heart is in your control completely. And that's where we can tap into spirit, is from the heart and from that alignment and walking with intention and presence. So I think that that's what I wanted to say about that. And I'm going to look in the chat again here to see. This Kristen says she can be overwhelmed, forgetting about herself, and that's that moment and noticing when you are overwhelmed and you do forget to take good care of yourself because you're either over caring for others or overworked. It's really making the choice to come back to yourself. And this is where spirit resides. We don't have to look outside of ourselves for happiness and joy. You can find that from within by loving yourself, making that choice and that belief system strong that you deserve love, that you deserve to be supported by spirit. And I look at every one of those moments as an opportunity to connect connecting within, connecting to the energetic core that is that column of light. And here's another way to explain it, another example. We've got so much going on in the past and in the future and all around us that our minds are trying to understand and grasp onto. But if you can bring your mind into this present moment of awareness of what's true for you right now, there's been moments where I'm thinking fearful thoughts of the future. What if I get sick? What if something happens, right? Or you think to the past, like, oh no, that happened and it could happen again. For me and for you and for the present moment, you can ask yourself, what's true for me right now? Right now, are you safe? And if you're not safe, what do you need to do as an action step right now to get safe? And, a coaching friend of mine on his podcast talked about what would happen if you were someone just dropped you off in the middle of an unknown city and you didn't know where you were. Feels kind of unsafe, right? But if you have a couple of resources like your phone and your wallet, then you would be able to get to safety, right? You'd be able to phone a friend, you'd be able to buy a hotel room and find a safe place to like gather yourself and center yourself. And so these tools that I'm offering you, the breath, the belief system shift, the self-love, the choosing joy, the gratitude practice, those are all the tools in your spiritual toolbox for you to return back into your center and your present moment awareness. Realize that, yes, what's going on in the world is happening outside of you, but in this moment, right now, you are safe, you are loved, and you have the ability to tap into your own heart and to the higher, more divine part of yourself and move from that place. I hope that that was helpful, and I really appreciate the engagement in the chat here. And yeah, your essence, the state of mind of being safe is totally, you are always safe. You can always get to safety. You can choose that. So I'm going to switch over to the question and answer. It doesn't look like there's any questions in there right now. If anybody has anything else they would like to ask about, feel free to go into that portion of your screen. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you all for being here and tell you about other tools that I offer to support through the soul coaching program and through one-on-one coaching. So my website, mindfulspiritcoaching.com, has resources like free guided meditations. Oh, a short practice. That would be wonderful. And you asked that question right as I was talking about the free meditations on my website. Yeah, we have a few minutes. I would love to teach you the 4-point breath, 4-corner breath. And lead you with a little heart-centered guidance. That would be lovely. So thank you for all being here. Why don't you, if you feel comfortable closing your eyes while you're breathing, I might do that. I might keep mine open, but I would lead you and guide you to, if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, just starting to notice your breath. Don't have to change it. We'll get to some guidance around that in a moment. Just follow the rise and fall of your chest. Noticing how your chest lifts when you breathe in and how it gets a little heavier and falls when you breathe out. Notice how cool air enters your body and how when you breathe out, it's a little warmer. Now we'll bring some intention into it. Breathe in, imagining calming and quieting energy is entering your body. And when you breathe out, let go and release. Feel the tension in your shoulders melt away. Relax the muscles around your eyes. Breathing in, calming, quieting energy. And breathing out any tension that you feel. One more time, breathing in that calming, quieting energy. And breathing out anything that wants to go. And continuing with your breath, we're going to use the 4-corner breath, breathing into a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4, and holding. They are empty for a count of 4. So give that a try, breathing in, holding 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathing out slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, and resting there, empty, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, holding, 2, 3, 4, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, and hold empty, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, and you can do this at any point. Hold, breathe out, and continue to breathe like that while I guide you to drop into your heart center. Do as much deep breathing as you can while imagining that your heart is expanding. With the breath in, you can feel the expansion. And with the breath out, you can hold and push and grow, continuing to expand your heart as if a bright sun of loving energy is filling you and expanding you. And you're feeling that love, tapping into feeling, and maybe even remembering one of those moments or one of those people, or I know pets are a really great way to tap into love. Feel some level of joy or love that you can really grab onto from any point in your life and let it expand in your heart. You might even notice a smile on your cheeks, a warmth growing within you, an expansive, happy heart love growing and expanding throughout your whole body. Breathing that to be bigger, breathing that in, expanding it, believing that you deserve love, you deserve to feel good. We all love to feel joy and pleasure and excitement. And this is where it stems from. This is the core center of all of that. So I want to thank you all for being this light and love in the world. I want to appreciate you. I do. So grateful for you being here on this talk and for being a part of this summit, for choosing your own joy, for choosing to tap into spirit. And we're coming to the end of our time together. So I'd love to direct you to more free guided meditations on my website, mindfulspiritcoaching.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. I'm also on Insight Timer, the app that offers free guided meditations there. My name is Alicia Love. I've really enjoyed sharing this time with you. Thank you so much for being here. Feel free to really ground back into your body as you come into this present awareness. And I want to say thank you. And it doesn't look like there's any more questions. And my painting here says, in any given moment, you have two options: step forward into growth or step back into safety. So I would like to leave that with you as the idea of safety is with you always. You don't have to stay stuck in it. You can bring it with you and grow and move forward in life and in love and in spirit. Namaste. Thank you so much.